All right, so happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you all have a great day. Today, we have our 10th, I think, community video. If you're new here, a community video is where I ask you guys to send me a bunch of questions and I answer them right here in a video. These are by far my favorite videos to make as it allows me to get you guys involved. Also, if you're here early and you already left a like, I appreciate you. We've got some interesting topics for today's video, and just like before, you all came through and sent in a whole bunch, so a part 2 could be on the way. As always, if you do watch these videos somewhat regularly, I'd really appreciate it if you sub to the channel, as it really helps me out. And before we start, this month's video is sponsored. This video is brought to you by Viking Jewelry. They make these awesome Viking accessories that range from earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings that are all totally handcrafted using nothing but the highest quality materials. They have these really cool collections that you can look through, and they hooked us up with a discount code for Black Friday that's only going on for today. They're giving us 30% off the entire store using the code BARRYBF. So make sure you hop on that, as there really is some genuinely sick stuff in there, including their Jormungandr amulets and Berserker bear paw items. So again, thank you to Viking Jewelry for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to check them out. I'd be happy if you did. Links will be in the description. Now, let's get into the video. Alright, so starting things off, Miguel says, I have a problem with how steel works after grinding and doing all my orders. I don't have the motivation to play the game until my new orders arrive. My question to you is, do you think they should lower the prices of some cosmetics to encourage people to continue grinding with the low steel count, or add an even bigger amount after you're done with the match? I've seen people talking about this a bit more since the new season started, and players wanted to try and pick up Janhu if they didn't have the season pass. I don't think Ubis would ever lower steel prices across the board, as I mean, steel is the only currency in the game, and as this game is still a live service game, selling steel packs is something Ubis is certainly interested in. I don't think it takes too long to earn steel if you play this game in short bursts, as you can hop on, do a few challenges in like an hour, hour and a half, and be set if you play a few times a week. But for those who play this game regularly, you know, it's their main game, they hop on it to grind it out, then yeah, steel gain is and has always been slow. I'd be happy if they increase steel gain, of course, but I don't see that happening either. The only thing I've proposed prior to this video is a challenge system in the same vein that other multiplayer games have, where there are short-term and long-term goals to grind towards for rewards, whether it be a special effect or a mode or something, and then of course steel. Have challenges for account-wide things and hero-specific things, and we'd all be set. Get 1,000 elims total, or 500 elims with Warlord or Lawbringer, capture 100 points in Dominion, or secure 100 flags in Tribute. Even though that would never be finished, I'd be really happy with something like that. As I'm putting this video together, I actually see that Evan Askew suggested the exact same thing. Next up, Jan14PR says, coming from a Lawbringer main, how do you feel about people now complaining about Shove on Red, and how would you change it? Man, recently Lawbringer has been getting a lot more attention, and by recently, I mean about the last month or so. Now that Heavy on Red is gone, I've seen people mention Lawbringer Shove or Shove on Red. For some reason, a few people believe I don't like Lawbringer, but that's not really the case. I just like to mess around and try to bring awareness to the fact that Lawbringer is actually a good hero. He's not as bad as some make him out to be. He's tough to crack, high health pool, really damaging parry punishes, dodge shove is really good. That top light can poke people out of plenty of things, and so on and so on. I wish that some of that defensive power was shifted to offensive power. Whenever I play Lawbringer, I always wish he could do more to get his opponents moving, you know? Anyways, dodge shove to me isn't the end of the world, because in most one-on-one situations, there is something you can do to avoid it, especially if you know the shove is coming. I haven't put too much thought into dodge shove, so I'm just spitballing here. Dodge Shove was more than likely made as a trading tool or as a tool to interrupt others, with the downside to it being that Lawbringer is losing health, and I'm not sure if I'd outright remove the armor on it. If you're going to adjust the armor, maybe push it back a bit, but I'm not really sure if I'd do that either. Playing around with guard break vulnerability is something Ubi could look into if it's possible at all with a move like Shove, as I will admit that I've used Dodge Shove to just tank through mix-ups whenever possible. I don't know. I wouldn't want to totally gut the move, you know, unless they compensated Lawbringer offensively. David says, how do you feel about Ubi doing something about tribute and combat modes? They have been dead game modes for way too long now, but I feel that they can be revived with very little effort, like boosting the XP they give, changing the buffs that each offering give in tribute to more interesting ones, or maybe removing the favorite option between deathmatch and elimination so both groups get matched together, reducing the matchmaking time. I'd love to hear what your suggestions are in regards to making these game modes popular again. So a while ago I talked about wanting Ubi to do something to revive these game modes as well, whether it be an increase in steal gained or just changing up the modes entirely. I don't think either of those things would happen, so at this point I'm proposing something else. This may not be too effective, but at this point trying anything to help these modes get players is a plus to me. I was thinking Ubi could try to implement a mosh pit playlist with some sort of incentive to play, like extra steal or a bit of extra XP or something like that. We all know that Dominion is the most popular mode, and it's not too hard to see why, as Tribute, Skirmish, and Elimination have their own problems, and with very low chances to find a game in the first place, there's no one even trying to queue into it. I would like to see a playlist where Ubi puts in all of the 4v4 game modes that aren't Breach and see what happens. I know that there are actually people that want to play these modes but just don't bother to try, and I feel that if you stick Dominion in there, randomize the modes, and give a small bonus incentive to play, there will be players that queue into that playlist and will actually get to play Elimination, Skirmish, and Tribute. If that doesn't work, well, it can't get much worse than it is now. Ethan Carter says, this one is for Infinite, but I'd also like to open it for everyone else as well. How long and how often do you find yourself playing For Honor? I find myself playing for several weeks, getting burned out, and then coming back for an event or hero release when it feels fresh again. I've been playing solid since Yorm dropped and for several hours a season. This is the longest the game has kept my interest. Just wanted to know how the rest of the community was experiencing the game. I'm also curious, so if you made it this far into the video, thank you. Let me know how long and how often you play. For me, recently I've been playing the game a bit more than usual for a few reasons. I have a bit more free time to play now this winter, and because there really isn't any other games I'm interested in when I sit down and play some video games other than Destiny 2. I play this game whenever I can, and play sessions can be around 2 to 5-ish hours long, depending on what time it is and how much I can tolerate before not wanting to play anymore. My willingness to play usually comes from new stuff though. That's where I can pour a lot of time into the game without noticing, like when new seasons begin or when a big update arrives like the mid-season patch. Brigadier Bishy asks, opinion on Ubi slowly changing heroes over time rather than reworking, such as the approach they decided to take on Peacekeeper and Orochi. Believe it or not, both Peacekeeper and Orochi received reworks, and I say rework because that's what Ubi called them, back in Season 6, Heroes March, almost a year and a half ago. For Orochi, they improved Storm Rush, changed Riptide Strike, and gave him new chains. And with Peacekeeper, they made the dagger cancel come from the top rather than from the same side of the heavy. They made bleed stack, and then they allowed PK to cancel her heavy finishers and adjusted her damage. From there, Ubi have been taking it slow and adjusting them bit by bit until they get to a good spot. I don't really have a huge problem with it, if I'm being honest with you. I certainly had wished that they introduced more heavy-handed changes with heroes like PK, Orochi, and Warlord, because I like those heroes, but over time, Each of these heroes have gotten better. Peacekeeper and Warlord aren't terrible heroes who should never be chosen. They're really useful in the right hands and actually hit kinda hard. I really like Warlord after this punch through change though. Whether it was intentional or not, I really enjoy that extra pressure. It's made him so much more enjoyable than before. Anyways, at the start, I was pretty bummed out that Ubis was taking things really slow, but now that these heroes are shaping up to be pretty solid, I don't mind as much, as long as other heroes are receiving somewhat significant changes in the meantime. Green Lightning says, do you think since For Honor has a spectator mode that we should also receive a theater or library mode to keep certain matches that we want to go back to? Yeah, so this is something that totally slipped my mind while I was recording for my spectator mode impressions video. I think that a theater or library would actually be really nice. Not only could everyone be able to go back and watch a great play or a great game or something, but people could review how they play, or content creators could make some really cinematic videos without needing to jump through hoops. I don't think it's really a priority. As of right now, spectator mode is working and will be used to share content in tournaments anyways, but a theater mode would be a pretty cool addition for everyone. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. Was really looking forward to this one. This is not the last one for the year. I'll be making a part 2 to this one more than likely, if nothing too big changes within the next few days, and then I would like to get another one out before New Year's. If you're interested in getting a question in for part 2, just go to my channel, click on the community tab, and write it down in the comments of my most recent post. Anyways, I do want to know what you guys think, so be sure to talk to me down in the comments about anything we talked about in this video. And as always, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.